from being devoured by ravenous beasts, to save this goat from himself, to save it from being killed. What the shepherd used to do is to break her leg. She's unable to go away. Then bandage the leg. Then carry the goat, the sheep rather, shoulder high, because it can't walk. He has to bring the fodder to the sheep and water for drinking, because it can't walk, it's broken. And the process used to take 3 long months before it was healed and able to walk. The irony of the entire story is that when this stray sheep was now released by the shepherd, it is the one that became closest to the shepherd. Remember the intimacy? They were so close that it could not stray again. I suggest to you today, there are times God breaks you because you're running away to the enemy. And he realizing you're going to kill yourself, and he has to save you from yourself. The breaking is painful, but it's necessary for you to arrive at your destiny. There are times God breaks you to humble you enough so that you don't abort your purpose. So that he can bring you closer to him, so that he can continue working in you and through you. It is painful, yes, but that was the only way to get your attention. Principle number 4. Turn your lemon into lemonade. Turn your lemon into lemonade. I read of a story of someone who was taking a walk on a sidewalk. Most of you who have traveled out of this country, you know they are very keen on the sidewalks. In Kenya, I don't know whether they create a place for us to walk. A few streets, yes. Many places you have to figure out how to reach home. But here's a country where they have a nice sidewalk. But unfortunately, there was a huge manhole. And on the very first day, this guy fell in the manhole. It was not his fault. He didn't know there was a manhole. He struggled to get out, but finally managed. On the second day, he took the same street, same path. The same manhole was there. He pretended it was not there, but he still fell. The manhole was there. The pretense didn't take it away. And it took a long time before getting out. On the third day, the guy took the same path, same street, same manhole. He was inside again. It was a deep manhole. Then immediately his eyes were opened and he realized it's a habit. He learned a lesson. On the fourth day, he took the same street, the same manhole. But what he did this time around, he walked around the manhole. On the fifth day, he took a different street altogether. Wow. Some of us continue at ground zero in the manhole because we continue walking down the same street without reflection. Reflection changes experience into insight. And I want to give you 3 lessons out of this. Lesson number 1. Don't waste pain. Under this principle, I'm going to give you 3 lessons. Number 1, don't waste pain. Every time you go through pain, a business loss, a relational breakdown, money lost, health breakdown, you must ask yourself these questions. You know, one of the questions I asked myself when I was at the HDU unit in Aga Khan 2 weeks ago, as I was there all alone looking up there are many lessons that went in my head, but one of them is this. Here is a week that we're about to launch the Sense 101 cruise. I needed to be there to communicate the message, vision casting. Here I am grounded. It's Sunday night. Monday morning, I was meeting the first crew. And I realized one thing God is telling me, I have to get out of my own way. God doesn't need me for Sense 101 to continue. And believe me, the cruise still continued in my absence. And the second lesson for me was that I too can fall sick. Nobody is above board. So I live also beneath the message. And maybe because of what I went through, I'm able to empathize with other people who go through the same challenges. Are you with me? Yes. These are the reflections I was having. But number 3, and the most interesting. Those of you who have been listening to me for a long time, you know that I kept saying that one of the reasons I do exercises oftenly, it is because of my breathing techniques. The major reason I do that, because I'm in public speaking. For example, this coming week, from Monday to Saturday, I'll be training in Naivasha. On Sunday, I'm speaking for 2 Sunday services at St. Andrew's PCA. That's Monday to Sunday, or the whole day, 7 days a week. So the only way to keep up with that kind of a diary is to continue doing a lot of exercises, especially jogging, running, and swimming. Then it dawned on me that without my conscience, I relied and banked so much on my physical exercises than God. I was coming from swimming and I stopped breathing. So I reflected. It doesn't matter how much I exercise, my health is in God's hands. The question I ask you, for example, in the area of relationships, what lesson have you learned? Do you really need to listen more as you move on? If not, you're going to repeat the same mistakes. Do you really need to ask, what is my contribution in this whole thing? This is going to be hard for you, but I must say it. In every single relationship, 50% of the problem is you. But everybody you talk with, they don't blame themselves. They blame the other person. I repeat, 50% of the trouble is you. You don't change people by changing them. You change people by changing yourself. As you move on, can you have a moment to reflect? Otherwise, you get back to the same manhole. The single ladies listening to me, I want to give you one lesson you need to reflect about. Don't love a man who just loves you on the basis of your looks. You will go back to the same manhole. In the area of finances, I have a message for you. Never beg for what you have the ability to earn. It's okay to be broke for 3 months or 6 months. If you're listening to my voice, please take me kindly. It's wrong for you to be broke for 2 years, 3 years. You need counseling. It's wrong. Trust me, it's wrong. There's something wrong with your strategy. It's okay when you're a starter. And it's okay when you're stable and you're hit by something, a job loss. And you can have a pity party for 3-4 months, but not for 3 years. Not for 3 years. What lesson are you learning? Don't waste pain. Try to pick the lesson out of this whole story. Am I communicating? Yes. Point number 2. Look at the big picture. Look at the big picture. And the real question I want to pose to you today, do you look at the bad picture or the big picture? While in prison at Robben Island, President Nelson Mandela said, you can't imprison greatness. He is a man who was able to look beyond working on the quarry rocks to the day that nation will have its freedom and liberty. He looked at the big picture, not the bad picture of the moment. Martin Luther King Jr. said once, the arc of history bends towards justice. He was going through a lot of humiliations on national media, but he was able to look at the big picture, not the bad picture. John Bunyan, while in prison, incarcerated behind the bar, he was able to write Pilgrim's Progress, one of the best-selling books in the history of mankind, because he was able to look at the big picture. Please understand, every single challenge is a temporal situation. It doesn't define you, it defines the challenge. But how long you stay there is up to you, and this takes me to the third point. My third point, bury your dead. Bury your dead. You see, I read of a story of a woman who was in love with her husband. They were lovebirds, to say the least. So mad that she couldn't let him go. So she decided to bury him in a transparent casket, to kiss him good morning in the morning, and kiss him good night before she sleeps. Without realizing her habit, in just about 3 months, she suffered from ulcers, oppression, depression, suppression, obsession, all the sessions, you know. She went to a psychiatrist who said 3 words, bury your dead. And as soon as she agreed to bury the dead, she regained her conscience. She regained her health. Hard as it might sound tonight, bury your dead situations. Don't live with the dead. Even Jesus said, let the dead bury themselves. You cannot do any single iota about yesterday. You cannot turn back the hands of time. You have no capacity to change what happened 6 o'clock this morning, but you have the capacity to change what will happen to you tonight, 10 o'clock. Bury your past ordeals in the sea of forgetfulness. You see, wisdom is not just thinking right and saying right, but doing right. Wisdom is taking an action. Like Albert Einstein once said, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep the balance, you must keep moving. Despite the fact that the storm was only for 40 days, no one stayed in the ark for more than a year. It is time you learned when the season at the doldrums is over. It is time you learned when the storm is over and move on. Don't dwell in that situation far too long. I know people who like showcasing what they were going through. They even keep pictures. You see, I was doing so well. Look at my shop. It went on flames. Look at how the terrorists did. 10 years down the line, they are still discussing it. Am I communicating to anyone?
Yes.
But does it help you? It doesn't help you. Dust off, rise up, move on. You see, winners argue, I'll feel good when I take a step. Winners argue, I'll take a step when I feel good. Are you a winner? Are you a winner? Things will begin to take shape when you take a step. But keep moving. Keep moving. You see, in a small town known as Enterprise, Alabama, the farmers were planting cotton and it was attacked by the boll weevil. It was utterly destroyed, so bad that there was no hope for these farmers. This was just at the conclusion of the First World War, and the economy was so bad, in recess, if you like. And then the farmers decided to try a different crop altogether, and they planted peanuts. The harvest was so bounty, they had never experienced such cash flow in the history of that little town. They were so excited that they decided to erect a statue in honor of the boll weevil. The only statue in honor of an insect pest in the whole world. How many here have ever heard of that statue? The boll weevil statue. For sure Kenyans don't read, eh? By the way, it's a very interesting story. Go read about it. They turned their lemon into a lemonade. A lemon is a bitter fruit. Lemonade is a sweet juice. Oprah turned her lemon, the brutal rips, into a lemonade. A huge talk show. Turn your lemon into lemonade. Are you there?
Yes.
Principle number 5 and the last one. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. And I want to pull some 3 points beneath this principle. And the very first point I want to share with you, you will feel alone. When you are down and beaten and broken, you will certainly feel alone. Biblically speaking, I see some characters who felt alone. Elijah the prophet did the greatest manifestation of the power of God at Mount Carmel. He slew himself in person 450 prophets of Baal. Prophets of Jezebel, if you like. And the next day, Jezebel was so mad, he decided to look for the neck of Elijah. A man was so confident with the work of his God that he called people for a demonstration. He even told them to pour water on the altar. But then he heard a rumor. Jezebel, one woman, is looking for your neck. And Elijah ran away. And he told God, kill me. I can't face that woman. Kill me. I mean, they have destroyed all prophets of God. I'm the only one remaining. And please, please, it's over now. God, please, it's over. I'm not going to face any other ground zero. He felt alone. I wonder many times, why didn't he trust God to rescue him from one woman? John the Baptist introduces the Messiah to the world. In plain language, behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. Nobody had asked him that question. He knew the Messiah. The next moment, he's in prison. And he's the first one to doubt his prophecy. And he tells his disciples, please go find out. Was that really the Messiah? I mean, for sure, if he's the Messiah, why am I in prison? He felt alone. What about the Messiah himself? You see, he lived a life that attracted enemy and foe and friend alike. Many times they wanted to stone him. But at ground zero, he felt alone. And that was at that old rugged cross And for the first time, he confessed he's lonely. He confessed. He said it, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, translated in the Aramaic language, my God, why have you forsaken me? You see, the greatest poverty in life is not lack of food. The greatest poverty is loneliness. He felt alone. If Jesus could feel alone at his ground zero, you will feel alone. So I'm suggesting it's normal to feel down. It's normal to feel alone. But then this takes me to my second point. Point number 2. Don't be alone. Don't be alone. Now, while it's normal to feel alone, I want to emphasize tonight, do not be alone for many reasons. First, the enemy of your soul works through isolation. If he manages to isolate you, he will terminate you. See, the Bible does teach that the devil comes like a roaring lion seeking whom to devour. And what the lion does, it separates the prey. If there are many buffaloes, it can't hit them. The only way out is to separate one buffalo from the rest of the flock, isn't it? From the herd. You see, when we are in trouble, we like isolating ourselves. You see, the human behavior is this. We crave intimacy, but we fear vulnerability. We long for friendship, but we fear rejection. And the more insecure we are, the bigger the walls we build, because we fear being exposed. So whenever we are hit by trouble, we like withdrawing. The first human reaction is withdrawal mechanism, trying to hide and trying to show the rest of the public everything is all right. What you're not realizing, when you get isolated, you get terminated. You must learn to work with partnerships. I'm not talking about old friendships, no. I'm talking about your purpose here. Identify your purpose in life and work with people you like and those you don't like for the sake of your purpose. Is this biblical? Yes, it is. I was taught this by God himself. Can I tell you? God uses the saints and the sinners. He used the upright and the prostitutes to achieve his purpose. He used the Jews and the Gentiles. He used men and women. He used children and adults. He used the slave and the free. He used